I am very happy to be speaking with you today as we know that the hottest trends in the food world will be revealed soon, and the biggest names in culinary and hospitality will gather in Chicago for the so-called Oscars of Food, or the James Beard Awards on May 4th. This is the 25th anniversary of the prestigious awards and the first time the awards will be held in Chicago. Kendall College Vice President of Culinary Arts and host of TV show Let's Dish, Chef Koetke, is joining us to dish up what we can expect. He will also highlight trends from this year's group of nominees. Chef Koetke, can you please tell us what are you looking forward to at this year's James Beard Awards?
Well, this is a big year for us here in Chicago. As you correctly pointed out, it is the 25th anniversary of the James Beard Awards, and they are here in Chicago for the first time. And I will also add a little parenthesis, they're going to be with us for 2 more years, which is very, very exciting. And, you know, what does that mean for us here in Chicago? It means that we're going to have some of the best chef talent from around the country descending on the city for the awards. And obviously when they're here, they're going to be dining in our restaurants and learning about the food that we have here in Chicago, because it is a great food city. And for us at Kendall, being the #1 culinary and hospitality school in Chicago, this is a really proud moment for us, and we are, sharing in the excitement of the James Beard Awards. For our students, it's really important. They're getting exposure to the whole process, which helps them dream a little bit. And, it's been a very good year for us. Within our graduates, we had 5 graduates who were semifinalists and 2 who are nominees. And so we have our fingers crossed for them, and we're obviously rooting for them at the award ceremony.
That is exciting for your graduates. Wow.
Yeah, it's a good year.
So tell me, that's amazing. What trends should we expect at the James Beard Awards this year?
Well, the first thing is just sort of looking like, for instance, who is in the Rising Star category. Because in years past, there were about 14 repeat names that would be sort of brought back. And that's about half of the nominees. This year, it was only 4. That's big. That means that there's lots of new faces, lots of new talent. It also means that there's a lot of new stuff happening across the country. So that's a positive for us here in the United States. The other thing is that here at Kendall, we're all about quality education, which means that we spend a lot of time looking in our food service crystal ball. That means that we're trying to envision what the world looks like in 5 years, because that's where our graduates will go. So we spend a lot of time looking at trends. And we've been watching a few trends that we've niched out. And when we looked at the James Beard nominees, we said, they're reinforcing those trends with what they're doing. So let me give you 3 trends to sort of think about a little bit. The first is what we call the old is now the new. And the whole concept here is that there have been things that were out there, popular, forgotten, and now being brought back by various chefs, but brought back in new ways. For instance, cider, hard cider, alcoholic cider, what we call fun cider, is back, and is back in interesting ways, and chefs are doing some interesting stuff with it. The other one there is punch. Those punch bowls that we grew up with, where it was sort of 7-Up and sherbet, and you weren't totally sure what was in there? Well, now they're back, but it's back in new ways, and so you have chefs that are doing interesting mixtures, unique mixtures with bitters and different alcohols, different fruit juices, and it's all about this idea of communal dining. You put the punch bowl in the middle of the table and everybody shares it. The second big trend is what we call the side is now the star. And the whole concept here is that there are certain ingredients that have always been sort of on the sideline, playing a supporting role. Well, that's changing. And so, for instance, something like carrots. Carrots have been around for a long time on lots of plates, but now it's different. Now carrots are in the limelight. Things like smoked carrots and miso glazed roasted carrots, carrot fondue, or even something like carrots in dessert, carrot mousse with a coffee glaze. Really interesting stuff. Or what we call charcuterie 2.0. Now this is near and dear to my heart because I taught charcuterie for a bunch of years. And so when I saw charcuterie come back, those charcuterie platters, I was thrilled. That was charcuterie 1.0. And in those plates, you had sort of the little pickles and the mustard off to the side, playing the supportive, role. Now, what's happening in 2.0 is those supporting elements are becoming, center stage. What does that mean? That means that chefs are doing fascinating things with their own mustards. They're making pickles out of just about everything. They're doing preserves. So charcuterie 2.0 is here. The third big trend is ramen. I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute, ramen? Well, it's been around for a long time. You know, I grew up eating ramen, instant noodles, etc. But several years ago, a bunch of chefs really started playing with this idea that ramen can be so much more. And what we're seeing is what we're calling mega ramen. And that is that ramen is really taking over, and it's going to be with us for a very long time, which makes sense because there's a certain element of comfort food with ramen. And if you look at what chefs are doing, I mean, just imagine this, you know, smoked white cabbage with crispy prawns, scallions, miso, a roasted pork broth, noodles. I mean, you know, you just sort of start to salivate a little bit. So ramen's here, ramen's big.
You are definitely making ramen sound wonderful. I have never thought of carrots as carrot fondue. You've got some really interesting ideas here that seem to be coming back out. So that is exciting to look forward to.
Yep.
So can you tell me, like you have this huge, wonderful biography and your resume is really in-depth. What elements go into developing a career as a chef? And, you know, somebody that wants to go into this, dreams of receiving this James Beard Award someday, what do they need to know?
You know, what it is 5 basic ingredients. And the first 3 I talk about with our students here at Kendall all the time, and with our students internationally. We're actually working in 7 different countries. And it's 3 words: passion, discipline, intensity. Chefs have to have passion. They have to love what they do. That's the basis of creativity. Passion is the hard work it takes to become a chef. Everybody on that James Beard nominee list, they have put in many years and lots of discipline. And we're kind of famous for that at Kendall. It's a very disciplined, intense program. The third word, intensity, again, restaurants are intense places, and all those chefs, I guarantee you, they're intense people. The fourth word is internationality, because we no longer live in our own little world, you know, part of the world. We're interconnected, and the internet's brought everything together. And so you have to understand how to function globally. For our students here, that's critically important. That's why we have, at any given time on our campus, 50 to 60 different nationalities of students. So we have an opportunity to interact with people from other parts of the world and learn their culture and their cuisine. Fifth word is real world. And this really is about culinary students. They have to have exposure to the real world. And so what does that look like? Well, here at Kendall, we have 3 restaurants. These are real functioning restaurants, and all of our students take a class in each one. We might serve up to 400 people in one restaurant. And so what that means is that they're exposed to the real pressures, things like time management, intensity, a little bit of stress, et cetera, et cetera. It means internships. And so when our students go on internships, where do they go? They have to go into places that are great, and we make sure of that, because that's when they really start to learn from other chefs outside of their culinary school experience. In fact, I mean, I'm very proud to say that we have more people that want our students than we can possibly supply. And then lastly is when they go to work in the real world, you really have to push yourself. You have to work for the very best chefs that you can possibly work for, chefs who will challenge you to grow and grow at a fast pace. And that's what these James Beard Awards are all about. These are the kind of chefs that I tell our students, these are the people you want to be working for. And that's why it's, again, so important that those awards are here in Chicago.
And they're going to be in Chicago for this year plus 2 more? Is that what you were saying?
Plus 2 more years. Yeah, that information just came out. Yeah, see the smile? Exciting. We're happy about that.
Well, you know, I actually have a daughter that works as a cook currently. She's worked a bit on a food truck, and now she's working at a restaurant in Aspen. She can totally attest to the discipline and the hard work and the intensity of what goes into putting out meals day after day that are tasty and delicious and people want. This sounds exciting for your students there at Kendall. Can you tell us where can people go if they want to learn more about any of these culinary trends you talked about?
Yeah,
or learn more about Kendall?
Sure. Just go to kendall.edu. So Kendall.edu, and everything is there on the website. Thank you very much.